ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ವಿದ್ಯಾಪೀಠ ವಿಧಾತಾರಂ ವಿದ್ಯಾವಾರಿಧಿ ಚಂದಿರಂ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿವತ್ಸಲಂ ವಂದೇ ಮಹಾಮಹಿಮ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. In the previous part, we saw how Shobhana Bhatta, he left behind everything and prostrated himself on the feet of Sri Madhwacharya, and he became the disciple of our Madhva philosophy. He carried on the legacy of propagating our philosophy to the next generations. Madhwacharya, he gave us the true meaning of our Vedas, and he explained the Vedanta to the deserving men and women very clearly and profoundly, in a very brief manner. Not only this, the establishment of Lord Sri Krishna's temple in Udupi today, it was one of the most adorable contributions given by Madhwacharya to us. See, we all know Madhwacharya was already an Aprakshajnani. He was the incarnation of Lord Vayudeva itself. He did not need some temple or any idol to worship or to put before his prayers in front of an idol or some person. He was already an Aprakshajnani. But he established this Lord Krishna's temple. He established the Vigraha, the idol of Lord Sri Krishna, only to give us the material and spiritual pleasures for the next generations, and to consolidate his achievements, and mainly for the success of his followers. When he thought of establishing an idol of Lord Sri Krishna, he already had in mind how the idol should be. He thought of Lord Sri Krishna as if he was dancing with the Gopikas. That day, as to according his presentiment, he found the idol at the seashore. He carried it with his own arms because the idol was very much heavy. It couldn't be even carried a single inch by some 30 stout and sturdy men. Madhwacharya carried it single-handedly from the seashore to the place where the Lord Krishna's idol has been established today. All this was done only for the success of his followers. The entire incident took place this way. Once Madhwacharya, he decided to have a bath in the sea. So, by completing his daily morning course, he along with his disciples, they started their journey towards the seashore in the early hours. As usual, he offered his prayers to the Almighty, and by reciting the hymns in praise of the Lord, and he sat on the seashore by continuing his meditation. That day, we all know he was an Aprakshajnani. It occurred to him that he might himself compose a great stotra. So he started composing verse by verse, hymn by hymn. He started singing that stotra. Today later it came to be known as Dvadasha Stotra, which consists of 12 adhyayas, 12 cantos, all in praise of the Lord. That day, something struck his mind, his presentiment, that God would bless him in a very special manner. Not only him, to the entire our Madhvas, not only Madhvas, to all the people belonging to all the castes, irrespective of their religion, caste or creed. Not only the people of then, to the people coming from generations and generations. So he started composing Dvadasha Stotra in the praise of Lord. It flashed to him that Sri Krishna was on his way to Udupi. Sri Krishna would himself come from all the way from Vaikunta to Udupi just to bless and shower blessings upon their entire Madhvas, whoever would believe the Madhva philosophy. At last, thinking all this, he simply sat on the seashore, continuing his meditation. While he was meditating, suddenly some sounds were heard. He slowly opened his eyes. Far away he saw a small ship which was being carried away by the winds, which was drifting away at the mercy of the waves. He understood the ship and the shipmen were completely in distress. So Madhwacharya, he did nothing. He simply took out his shati or his handkerchief, whatever we say. He simply moved it left and right like this, which indicated which actually everyone believed he was talking to the ship. He indicated the ship to stop, come slowly, do not get carried away by the winds. It actually meant like that. The disciples understood that way. The ship also, it exactly acted the same way. The ship simply, sure enough, the ship did float and sail, and soon the ship and the shipmen were completely out of danger. The master of the ship, he understood that this was all happened to him only by the grace of some guru who was sitting on the seashore and meditating for the purpose of the welfare of the society. The master of the ship, actually the ship was coming from Dwaraka, and they were transferring some goods. They were transporting some goods. The shipman, he offered something in return for the help done by the Guruji, indicating to Madhwacharya. Madhwacharya accepted it and asked for the pieces of Gopi Chandana, the sacred mud, what we call today. Gopi Chandana is also one of the type of mud, but it is considered very sacred and sanctified. So Madhwacharya, he asked to give the pieces of Gopi Chandanam from the vessel. One of the pieces was particularly, it was very large and heavy also. The disciples carried all the pieces, and they slowly started to bring from the seashore towards the Udupi. Suddenly, what happened? The large piece of Gopi Chandana, it fell down from hands of the disciple and it broke. On the way back, it broke in twain, and it disclosed to view a very magnificent image of Lord Sri Krishna himself, with one hand carrying a churning rod and another churning rope on the another hand. Madhwacharya looked at the figure and was completely transfixed with emotion. Lord Sri Krishna, he himself came from Vaikuntha to Udupi in order to bless his disciples. It seemed that way. Then from the mouth of Madhwacharya, verse by verse, they started flowing, and the 6th chapter of Dvadasha Stotra, actually Madhwacharya was composing the 6th chapter of Dvadasha Stotra. Then immediately in front of the Lord itself, Madhwacharya completed the Dvadasha Stotra. He composed from 6th chapter to the 12th chapter continuously. The 6th chapter entirely was done in the praise of the Lord itself. The place where this idol broke, where this the piece of Gopi Chandana broke, and that place came to be known as Vadabandeshwara, and there today even that place is worshipped, and an idol of Lord Sri Balarama is found over there even today. The Lord thus miraculously was taken to Udupi and washed in Madhvasarovara and fixed at the place where we see today. The sticking pieces of Gopi Chandana from around the idol, everything, they were removed, and many people, they were astonished by the incident, and they started to have darshan of the Lord. And one thing we must know here, once the piece of Gopi Chandana fell down and Lord, he himself appeared magnificently, from then none of the disciple could either move it an inch. No one could even lift it, nor they could even move it an inch. Madhwacharya understood that maybe it was his pleasure or Lord Sri Krishna's desire to carry the image himself. He lifted the image with both hands very simply, very easily, and carried it. It was a very memorable day for the entire people of Udupi, entire residents of Udupi, the surrounding areas. Not only then, the entire country would remember this day. What we must see here is, before the disciples knew it was actually an image of Lord Sri Krishna, it was the idol of Lord Sri Krishna, they could easily they could easily lift it, because they didn't have the knowledge of the Lord then. But when they saw, when they came to know that Lord Sri Krishna himself was residing in that piece of Gopi Chandana, no one could even move an inch, because all this needs punya, all this needs yogyata. To carry the Lord, one must need punya, one must have done good deeds in order to have that pleasure. So Madhwacharya, he himself had that yogyata. He was the incarnation of Lord Vayudeva itself, and he was an aparoksha jnani. So he himself could carry the vigraha with both hands from the place from the place of Vadabandeshwara to the Sri Krishna temple in Udupi. This point must be actually noted very clearly. Lord Sri Krishna himself has come amongst the residents of Udupi, inhabitants of Udupi, and the entire people of Udupi, they were very much deemed with happiness and blessed by the combined pleasure of Lord Sri Krishna as well as Madhwacharya. We must all know that from concluding this chapter in the last 3 verses, the poet, he briefly again narrates Madhwacharya's second trip to Badri. He went to Badri, he explained whatever happened. He again took the advice from Lord Sri Vedavyasa, and he compounded the new system of philosophy, and this has resulted us to get us a path, to get us to know about our philosophy, so that we could stand in the way of our Madhva philosophy. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.